Hello, my name is Jacob,
My name is Michael.
and we are starting a little podcast of which we don't particularly know the name at this very moment in time, but we just wanted to make a podcast in general. Yeah, because we're living in interesting times, and also we're going to record it because we can. We have the tools too, so might as well. And we're just going to talk about, I guess, I wanted to document sort of what's going on right now, how I'm feeling, what I'm doing in this time of this pandemic. So it can kind of help me articulate how I feel, I think, a little bit better, watching it back. Because I feel like everything for me right now is very just meshed together. Like I was telling Michael, like my sleep schedule was like really off. Last night I tried to go to bed at 1, which is like early during these times. I took melatonin and slept until 1. So 12 hours of sleep, and
Half a day.
half my day is gone. And yeah, I don't know. Everything's just been really meshed right now, and we've talked about that a little bit. But
Unprecedented times.
yeah,
Unprecedented times.
yeah. So how are you feeling right now?
Um,
The coronavirus. Let's put it out there. Let's put out the word that should not be named. The coronavirus.
I think we're all going through different stages of grief at different times. I forget all the stages, but I know like the first one is like denial, and then acceptance. I'm skipping a few steps. I don't.
Denial, and then you accept it.
It's a very fast process. It's just 2 steps. No, but where I don't know. I think for me, like a lot of other people, I was really disoriented at first. But right after everybody was joking about how severe this might be, like haha coronavirus, like it's off in China, like we're fine, it's not going to make it here. And then it made it here, and within the span of about a week, everything just like flipped upside down. I like was put on furlough, my friends were put on furlough, trips were canceled, concerts were canceled, everything was canceled, flights were canceled. The airline industry like went bankrupt.
Everything was just started going downhill.
Yeah.
Everything.
Like stocks were like crashing. Our house got really into options trading for about a week.
Yeah.
Which like if you're not familiar, it's just essentially putting bids on the market. Guess like predicting if something will just totally tank. You're like betting money on that essentially. So we were really into that for about a week and a half, and then I lost a good amount of money. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna call it here. But all that to say,
you still have your like Virgin Galactic holdings there.
Yeah, I do.
Because mine have been doing well. Like
it's a good time to invest.
Yeah,
for sure. So I think this has like made a lot of people invest in learning how to invest. Me included. I like have always wanted a good opportunity to do that. So, besides that, yeah, it's just been a whirlwind. Like knowing that everything that was planned this year is just like not happening anymore, and reevaluating like my life's goals, like what I had been thinking I was going to do, and now what I will probably be forced to have to do instead. And processing through the disappointment of that.
But you'll get through that.
And I'll get through it.
It'll just be
we all will.
It's a crappy time, but like, we make it through those really weird. It's going to be like a phase that we just like the world is like inclusively going through at the same time.
Sure. Yeah, and for me and for you, it's been, at least I can say, it's been like a gift to live in a house with like we live in a house of 8 roommates, or I guess 8 total, and about 4 or 5 of us are constantly here. And so like the first few weeks, whenever just like nobody knew how to like say the words to process what it is we were going through collectively. It was good to have people in the same house that could like help put words to the like collective grief we were going through of the year, just like totally flip-flopping. So I can say that I think I'm in a better place because I live with other people who are going through it, people that I like. And so
there's definitely people like in situations. I think about the people who are like in really toxic relationships or like who are living at home with their parents, which is like, I mean, we've had roommates that went home to live with their parents. So like some people are like more well suited to be at home.
Yeah.
I know for me, I can only be at home for like a week or two.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so good, but it's just like I can only take my parents in doses and my family in doses, I guess. But some people are just like stuck in that, and I know that's.
Or they're living by themselves, and they're probably really lonely.
Yeah.
Living in like a studio apartment.
I saw this TikTok. It was pretty cringy, but it was cringy. Like I think was it you who sent it to me? Maybe it was just on my feed, but it was.
Was it me? Did I make it?
No, you didn't make
Oh
it.
man.
But it was this dude, and he was like, "My wife just left me, and I dropped her off at like her home to go on vacation, and she called me and said she's not coming back, and I'm in a town by myself, like with no friends and family." And like at first it was like haha, and then like the more you watch it, it was like, oh, this is really sad.
Oh
Like this is really depressing. But like people are going through that, which is really kind of, I mean, it is sad and sucky, and like we do have it a lot better off. Like, and we get to have cool conversations, and I mean, we're all playing through like video games together. We're playing like a lot of Call of Duty Warzone, which is like fun to do in close proximity. And like, I mean, you can play online, but I mean, we're still having a good time doing that. And then we have like, we play like Jackbox and random nights, or me and Michael are watching through Harry Potter right now, which is a good time.
So good.
But yeah, I think, I mean, to kind of feed off of what you were saying, I remember when things, at least when the house kind of like realized how bad it was the day that Corey came downstairs and was like, yo, the NBA got canceled. We were like,
yeah,
whoa, crap. And then like after that, it was just like a giant snowball of news coming out saying like, this is happening, this is getting canceled, this is happening. And for me, it's been a really rough time. At least for like a lot of people in the house, just because it is like literally as we're graduating and we're going into our adulthood. I'm like a senior at UT right now, and I didn't even know my last day on campus was going to be my last day on campus. It was just like, it was over. It was done, and moved to online classes, which suck. Like the online classes have just been a whole struggle on its own, but and then like just as I was feeling comfortable with my post-grad plan, it was like I was going to do this program where I moved to LA. That got canceled. And luckily it's postponed. So like it was canceled, and they're like, well, you can like defer to like a later semester. And so I'm doing that, which is good. But like, again, there's people out there that don't have that luxury or that privilege. And so, yeah, it's definitely like a huge thorn in the derriere. Like, you know, that people I don't think were expecting, and like I don't know, I've had like trouble like figuring out like, is it for me it's a discomfort, right? Like, oh, like this is just like an obstacle in my way, but like for other people, like this like destroys their lives. People are dying. People are literally like, that's something that I don't think gets acknowledged enough. People are literally like dying, losing their lives to this. Which is crazy.
What's like tripped me up, I think the most, is not only like learning how to sit comfortable with all of the like the world news and the national news that come like in the form of notifications to my phone throughout the whole day, but hearing about like personal anecdotes of people that I know that they have friends that are going through like really tough situations. I just read somebody who like, one of like my friends from college pursued a creative director job in LA, and like she went to LA once before. It was really hard. She ended up coming back we're in Austin, and it didn't work out, and she worked here for like a year, and then another like really great opportunity presented itself in LA, and she like had to overcome the trauma of LA the first time, just not being a good experience. and she took the leap. She went back to LA, and she worked like this incredible job, incredible opportunity, and she just got laid off this morning. And
do I know this person?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. That's like really hard, and that hits home for me just because this is somebody that I know, and like going through that's got to be really tough, especially when you've got like a large base of people that know you back home, but like you just pursued this other thing in California, and I just have to imagine it's probably a really like lonely feeling if you don't have any roots in this new place that you just moved to during like a world crisis. So hearing stories like that just make the impact of it feel a lot heavier and the gravity a lot stronger. So just processing through all that is it's a lot.
It's weird because you like when I think I'm more isolated. Like you said, world. What did you say? World something? World
crisis.
World crisis. Like in I think more isolated cases, like say breakups, right? Somebody goes through a breakup, and then you meet somebody else and they're going through a breakup, and you're like, oh, it makes me feel a little bit better that this person's going through a breakup too. Like they get it. I'm not alone in this, etc. But when it's a world crisis and like everybody's going through it, like there's the degrees of it that's comforting, and then there's a lot of degrees of it that don't really comfort me because it's still like, and I don't know if I've ever experienced that before, where it's like I hear people going through these like really like terrible situations, like getting laid off or whatever it might be, dying, and it doesn't necessarily comfort me because it's just like stacking bad news on bad news almost. And I didn't mean for this episode to be so like such a downer, but I think it's good that we get through the really, because it's hard. Like we get through this really hard stuff, and I think we need to talk about it. And again, I wanted to document like what is going on right now, so I know for in the future, I have it documented. But I don't know. There's a degree of it in which it does comfort me, and then there's the degree that's just like growing numb to it. It's like, oh yeah, it's another really bad thing that's like, I don't know. It's like a whirlwind of emotions that I have never experienced before, and I will venture to say a lot of people haven't experienced before because it's such a new and different situation. Like even like with people, this will be a stretch because I don't know, but like with war, like say like World War II, like that was a huge major event, like were people feeling like this then, because like then like you could at least know what to expect. Like you had friends who were like off at war, and then you hear that they passed away. It's like, well, there was a chance of that, and I was worried about them, and like it's sad, but like with this it could be like somebody down the street without even knowing. No, and like it's not, I don't think it's that severe that like you would hear that necessarily, because I mean we have done a good job of flattening the curve with self-isolation and people taking the right precautions with social distancing and stuff, but like it does happen, and so not necessarily for me, but I'm saying for other people who are like hearing like, oh, my neighbor just died, or like my like parents just died, like I think I told you about that. I saw a tweet where it was some person was like, it was early on in the pandemic, somebody had tweeted that they had dropped their father off at the hospital, and they had like a quick interaction where it was just like, oh, I'll see you like in a week, like very just like kind of blowing it off, and then like days later like their dad had died, and so it's like,
jeez,
it's
a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, and it's something that people, like I said, we haven't experienced, so it's like new emotions. I don't know if it's new emotions, but it's like a combination of new uncertainty and emotions that people haven't experienced before.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you bring that up. We watched the Disney Pixar film Inside Out like a week or two ago, and I think that movie portrays the like complexity of emotions really well, in the sense that like when we're kids we feel really joyful about one thing and really sad about one thing, and like these emotions are really like binary, just like this is this, this is this. But as you get older, you start feeling like sad and happy, like in different ways at the same time for the same thing. And I'm experiencing that a lot myself. The very end of Inside Out, at the very end, you can see, if you've seen the movie, this will make sense. If you haven't, tune me out for the next like 10 seconds. But the little like spheres of like the core memories, Riley's like core memories at the very end they have like different colors within them. It's like a little bit of joy, but then there's a little bit of blue, and there's like a little bit of like anger like tied in. And so it's like this one thing that's like important to you right now, but you feel different ways about it. And I think that's like more true than ever for me and for this situation, in the sense that like I feel really happy to have this time to like spend with my roommates, to spend like making stuff, to like listen to music, to learn how to like cook more, to like take walks. And I like am grieving too, like the rest of the world, about like everything that we're missing out on, the jobs that people are losing, the lives that people are losing. I'm like angry about like some of the leadership that has like made decisions about the virus in the ways that we like could have handled it quicker. And I'm not trying to be political, but just me seeing in the midst of like such a huge situation that the world is collectively feeling, I think it's like I'm having a hard time compartmentalizing all of these like different feelings that I have about it.
Absolutely.
I feel a lot when I think about the last 2 months, and I think I will continue to feel like that, but I'm just trying to be more comfortable with how complex I'm feeling the situation. I'm having a hard time articulating it too, but I think that goes to show like it's difficult.
It is complex, and I mean, and that's why this is happening. Like, this is why we're making this, because it's hard to put like a pin in it and just like know exactly what each little degree of it is. But like I think I will say one thing that like is nice about it that's coming out of it is like international camaraderie, where and like there's like, again, like I don't want to like what you said, I don't want this to be ever a political thing.
Sure.
Like there's been like a push for like national camaraderie, like somehow the U.S. is doing like a better job than other countries, like American doctors are somehow better than other doctors. I was listening to another podcast the other day. I was talking about like science is science. Like if you have the same controlled experiment in Australia, in the U.S., like you're going to get the same exact results. You know, so like like somebody's science can't be better than somebody else's science, other than just doing an experiment correctly. Yeah. So it's like like you can't just say like American scientists and American doctors are great. Like doctors are great. Like the world is in this together. Like everyone is going through this, and everyone is collectively grieving their lives, and like in their own like. What's also interesting is like everyone's grieving in their own different ways, because like our cultures are all different. Like our lives are changed drastically differently from how like someone in China's life might be changed, or somebody in Europe's life might be changed. But like grief is the same, and so we're all feeling that same grief. And so, but I think what's cool is that we are in a lot of ways supportive of each other in that. And I mean, you've seen like cheesy videos of people like do like the celebrity like sing song thing.
Oh god.
Or
yeah.
I saw
one video.
I saw one where it's like people like tossing toilet paper out of the frame to different like countries they're catching it, which is like still like it's the still sentiment of like, yo, we're in this together. And I think that's been nice, you know, when in the face of so much, you know, conflict and war that we have normally, like at least we're all fighting like a war against the same enemy right now. And that's kind of brought us together. And that's kind of brought some comfort to me, is seeing that. And did I tell you this? I did tell you, I'm driving Uber Eats right now. I did that so I can earn a little bit more money. But like the other day, yesterday, like the first time I was doing it, I delivered to somebody, and they were like, thank you for your service. Which is like, in my mind, exactly. It's so funny, but like, even like American like patriotism has changed, in which that like, you know, people used to feel patriotic to like soldiers, and we think are soldiers. But like, now we have different types of heroes. Like doctors are heroes, and delivery drivers are. I mean, like to a degree they are, like because you're delivering to like elders who can't go out and do that thing. In which I feel no way like I'm being a hero at all doing that. I'm just trying to make like $10 so I can eat at Whataburger tonight. Like, but it's things like that. People going out of their way and putting their lives at risk, just stepping outside their door. And again, it's not that I think that's overplaying it. I don't think it's that severe that if I literally go outside, I'm going to die immediately. But like, for people who are older and like more at risk, like it is very dangerous to go and socialize with people if the correct precautions aren't being taken. And so going out and interacting with a lot of people to like get your groceries or whatever it might be to work, it is a risk, and you are putting your life in potentially harm's way, or putting other people's lives potentially in harm's way. Yeah. But there's comfort in people doing that. Like I think there is a form of patriotism that goes with it. Or not even like, what would you call like the world version of that? Like being proud of the world. Worldalism.
Patriot for humanity. I don't know. I have no idea.
Humanitarianism.
Yeah, I'm a humanitarian.
I
don't know.
Whatever.
I know what you're saying. Like just
like being proud of people.
Yeah.
In general.
It's like being inspired by like what humans can do. It's literally in the form of people like picking a time to go outside and like cheer for the healthcare workers like as loud as they can, like making as much ruckus. Mm-hmm. I've been really like encouraged by that, and encouraged by just like the fact that people are saying, you know, like these people are like heroes for looking out for like so many people that are in the hospital working overtime, being like in a hospital for like 10 days at a time, or like up to 20 days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane to me.
It is crazy.
But yeah, instead of like, I have also heard the comparison, a lot of you have probably heard the comparison as well of the virus being compared to like this generation's World War, except like we're not fighting each other, we're fighting this like what's being called like the invisible enemy, which is funny, but it's true. It's like this thing that like is intangible. It's tangible, but it's really tiny. You can't see it, but it's affecting like everything. Everything that is tangible is like being put on hold because of this thing that we can't see, and so we have to band together to like destroy this thing together. And I think we'll like, when it's all said and done, I've got hope that we'll like begin to prioritize like the right things again, as a people, as a nation, hopefully as just like the world, like prioritizing people and relationships, like genuine FaceTime, like face-to-face conversations. Yeah. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
Like
great.
If I was in like an apartment by myself, I would be dying right now.
Yeah.
But I'm, like I said, I'm thankful to be living in a house full of people. People, relationships, the environment. We see the environment like
healing,
thriving right now
because
it's
crazy.
We're not messing it up. And I think like I was listening to a podcast the other day by Dan Carlin. I think it's called Common Sense, and it's like just this podcast where he tries to like synthesize the current political environment, and he like made his first episode in like 2 years, and tried his best to like see it as, or call it as he saw it, which is like a really hard thing to do right now. But he said, wow, I forgot where I was going with this. I had the thought and it escaped me.
Dan Carlton.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
I've done that a couple times.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It'll come back to me, I think. But I don't remember.
In the vein of you say, like, I've really appreciated like going outside and seeing so many people walking. Like that's been like one of the most revitalizing things is going on walks during this. Yeah. Like I don't know if it's just in my head or the grass like literally seems greener. The tree, like the leaves look greener. I hear more birds, and it could just be me. Maybe I'm just paying more attention to it. I hear more birds. I see like what feels like an uplifting in nature, and then I see like a ton of people. I met one of our neighbors talked to me for the first time. I like hammock outside in our front lawn, and I met one of our neighbors like for the first time, and then people just like walk by, and like everyone's just so friendly right now and like willing to like socialize from a distance and like talk to you from a distance, or like at least just like wave, and I think we've talked about this. There's like this collective, when you see them and you're waving and you're making eye contact, it's completely different from when you would have waved at somebody before this. Yeah. Because like it's like a wave of like, hey,
I see you.
I see you.
Yeah.
Like, and I know what you're going through. I know what this is.
Yeah.
It's so hard to explain unless you're experiencing it. But like, even waving at someone is different now.
Yeah.
In a good way. Like,
Austin feels like a big family right now. I think the world feels like a big family. Also, I remembered what I was talking about with common sense. I'm so sorry for forgetting. Dan Carlin said something along the lines of like, in history, big structural change always follows like a big like life-altering event, like with world wars, with pandemics, with epidemics, whatever it may be. Big like structural change where need be always precedes these like life-altering crises or wars or like whatever. And so on that note of like reprioritizing the right things, I think that will come in the form of legislation, of anecdotal people loving each other the right way, and just being on the same page again. So that's all I wanted to say. I forgot, but there we go.
I thought you were going the direction of when we talked about like when bad things happen. It like with the Renaissance, like after like the
that
plague.
Too. Yes.
Was it with the Black Plague? It's called.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and so after like the big plague, Black Death, that one. Like you got the Renaissance, which I've been really excited about seeing like what art comes out of this. Like think about like this is a really weird, very in the future thought, but like someday there's gonna be some like really famous musician who's just like super talented, super great, and they're like, yeah, like I wasn't really into music until like the coronavirus happened and I was at home. I was like, well, what can I do right now? I'll learn guitar, and then he learned guitar and became like an incredible musician.
Yeah.
So like, so many like awesome things can come out of this. So many awesome scripts, so many awesome pieces of work and art, like music. Like, I'm really excited for the wave of art that's gonna come out of Corona, which is a weird thing to say, but not really. No, not even. Like I don't know. I'm excited for it. I mean, we have this podcast, which isn't like groundbreaking, but it's
it's groundbreaking.
It's going to change.
It's going to change the podcasting landscape.
Exactly. People are like, we have to start podcasting in our closets,
right? Yeah,
with cups of tea.
The Corona closet.
Hell yeah,
we're gonna get it.
Which, by the way, I was thinking about this too. We didn't really go into this with a plan, so we don't really know what it's going to look like, how many episodes we're going to make. We're kind of just going with the flow with it because we can right now. It's like best time to go with the flow. So it'll subtly change as we like make improvements to like the setup. We're currently in your closet with one of our roommates. Yeah. Many things that he owns.
It's a walk-in closet. So
it's nice though. This is like a huge closet with like it's really pretty in here. So we were like, might as well use it and make do with it. So as we adjust to figure everything out, it'll make more sense. Kind of go in on top of each other and yada yada. So it'll look good, hopefully. Whew. But
wild world we live in.
Yeah, which also I don't know how long we want to make each episode. I think we were at like 30-ish minutes when the video stopped.
That's a good length.
Yeah,
personally,
you can keep them.
I never listen to podcasts that are like over 40 minutes or so.
Yeah, I like doing that. Especially like on road trips, I'll just like kind of let them play and piece them out. But if you just want to listen to a short podcast, that's what we're gonna do for right now. That's what we're calling it on the fly. Short podcast. And maybe if there's a good day we're inclined to do a longer one, we'll do a longer one. But yeah, I think that's a good stopping point. Again, like I said, we're figuring it out. We'll adjust and change things as things go. I don't know if this has been making clinking noises with the mic as we've been putting our cups down. There might be little adjustments we'll make, but
yeah, it's gonna be banging. It's gonna be a banging podcast by the at least the second episode.
Yes, and we'll talk about more up and happier things, I guess, in later episodes.
Yeah.
And then also we'll return to Corona stuff when Corona stuff is relevant. But we'll talk about the Harry Potter thing we're doing, or whatever the heck we want to talk about. Yeah,
be great if you like movies or music or life or living. Then this is the podcast for you. We'll talk about happier things. This was the episode about overcoming the process of overcoming the grief of the situation.
Yeah, in the morning.
And once we can do that, then we can mourn joyfully.
Yeah.
Through art and through making podcasts.
And people. And conversation.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. I don't know if there's a specific way we want to end doing it. Yeah, thanks, I guess. And we will see you next episode, next podcast.
We love you.
We love you. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear masks, stay inside, love those around you, call your family, do all the things that you're supposed to be doing right now. Use Germ-X.
Take showers still.
Yeah, please shower. Please shower. Change your clothes. Changed my underwear today. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll talk to you next time.